grain be reaped, or the bread baked, or the people be fed, we must make use of the axe. Going back in history, the axe first appeared as man's earliest tool in the form of a handheld stone. Later, wooden handles were added to give greater force and efficiency. Then, the discovery of iron was applied to the axe head. The axe was used for felling trees, then for shaping timber, as man discovered more wonderful...
Early morning in the quiet majesty of the Tasmanian forest finds bushmen searching for the right timber following the blessing of the axe and the start to the championships. The early birds call as Neil Perry directs his men in the task of collecting 3,000 logs for the titles.
You might have to push him a bit.
It was here in 1870 that the sport commenced when Tasmanian Joseph Smith challenged a Victorian named Biggs to cut a 3-foot block for the wager of £25. It is reported that Smith's board began to sag, and a local gentleman moved in and took the weight on his shoulder, which gave victory to his champion. The report concludes with everyone celebrating with large pints of brown ale.
He's away. He's away.
How many feet, Neil?
54.
The son of Joseph Smith donated a handsome trophy in memory of the event, and challengers came from everywhere, up and down the country, until in 1891 the first rules were established. 67 axemen competed in the first organised event. 20 blocks fell at once, and the following arguments as to who won gave rise to the first World Championship at La Trobe. World Championships and wood chopping had a checkered career following this eventful opening until 1970, when the World Centenary was conducted again on the northwest coast of Tasmania, attracting entries from all over Australia, the United States and New Zealand. An Australian controlling body was formed following this carnival. In 1974, it was decided to promote the sport even further, and another World Championship was organised. The invitations have been accepted, and already scores of axemen are arriving as the woodsmen urgently prepare the logs, cutting, hauling, numbering, milling and taking them to the various venues. Time is vital, and weather conditions play a big part, for strong winds or hot weather will dry the logs, making them difficult to cut. The pace quickens as overseas axemen accompanied by wives and officials arrive. Many a friendship is to be renewed, and officials are ever present to smooth the arrival, especially the organiser Ron Davies, for this is the culmination of years of hard work. The sister country of New Zealand sends a large number of axemen from both North and South Island.
But it's very important you identify your own luggage, you see, because you'll be going into different battles. The majority of us will be first.
Australians from all states are here with their wives, luggage and their valuable axe cases. But much still remains to be done on the arenas, for although the blocks are cut, the holes must be dug and dummies prepared. New Zealand champion John Goodwin inspects the wood with his manager Doug McCarty, as veteran log handler Neil Perry supervises the arrival and the stacking of the logs. The magical day arrives with the parade in Ulverston. The The bands parade and the many competitors are introduced to the crowds from passing floats. The Canadians, with their national flag fluttering, wave to the people who are so natural and friendly to the sportsmen so far from home. The axemen from the United States are also present and receive a tremendous applause. Other states also pass with world and Australian champions, for never in the history of the sport have so many top-flight competitors come together to vie for the honour of being the best in the world. It is a real carnival atmosphere prior to the serious business of competition. The procession ends and the teams parade for the official opening. The flags of competing nations and states are marched in and paraded by local girls, as the patron of the Axemen's Association, Mr. Eric Rees, proclaims the carnival open and wishes everyone success in the events. The flags flutter from the masts, and it is a proud moment for all the representatives who have been honoured by selection. With the ceremonies over, the axemen get down to the serious side of things. In all, there are 4 distinct types of competition. The standing chop, in which the axeman stands to the log, sawing, which can be single or double-handed, tree felling, which is 3 shoe boards high, and finally underhand, which is cut between your legs. Many personalities are here for the titles. One such figure is Golden Valley farmer Doug Ude of Tasmania. Here he is in action. He punches into the log, determined to avenge for 1970, when he missed the Centenary Championship due to an accident. That year he was sawing through a tree with a chainsaw when it kicked out of the back, jumped off the ground into his left side, nearly cutting him in 2. In hospital, doctors inserted 250 internal stitches and 50 external. 10 days later he watched the championships, but 2 months later was back in action. His first win notches up 10 points towards the Champion of Champions trophy.
I wasn't cutting well at all. I'd been using it all the year. I couldn't sort of make a cut, and I found out what was wrong with it and rectified it, and 2 starts would have had 2 championships.
Another real personality is George Foster of Ross, who despite his bulk is one of the fastest underhand cutters in the world. A popular man with all his friends, he is at his best when the wood is good and the crowd are with him. An enthusiastic chopper, he is happy-go-lucky and accepts his rare defeats philosophically, but his triumphs bring out his infectious grin to the delight of all. Success in the world titles comes early to George Foster as he slams his way through the heats and final to take out the 35-centimetre world underhand in record time and become runner-up to Doug Ude in the overall Champion of Champions, a title he won in 1970. Another world champion and a man among men is Neville French of Wynyard. A quiet, determined axeman, he installs dairy machinery for a living and chops for a hobby. He won a world title in Sydney and was named Axeman of the Year in his home state, Tasmania, in 1972. He specialises in the standing event and always exhibits tremendous power. One of New Zealand's champions is up-and-coming John Goodwin, who at only 24 years of age is acknowledged to have a very bright future in the sport. He possesses power, accuracy and complete dedication to the sport. Many times world champion Doug Gude comes from a long line of axemen. His father, as a bushman working in northwest Tasmania at Quamby Brook, competed in wood chopping most successfully, and so it was natural that his love of the sport would be transmitted to his family of 7 boys and 1 girl. All the boys have competed at chopping, with 4 winning world titles. Doug, the most successful, Merv, Bill and Ray have all won world titles, whilst Rex has been the most successful on the local scene. Doug is completely dedicated to his sport, and his power of concentration can always be seen in his timing and accuracy of placement. He is absolutely determined to win the championship, but equally aware that he is one among many, for the top axemen in the world are here to do the same thing and take home the coveted title, for only the best man can win. Doug has been competing for 30 years and is having his best year ever. Hobart fireman Ian Duggan is another young axeman with tremendous potential. Married with a young family, Ian finds difficulty in training. However, his job demands peak fitness and his physical training stands him in good stead for his hobby. Naturally exuberant, his joy knows no bounds when he is successful, and his brilliance at underhand chopping places him second only to George Foster, and even then he achieves success in winning the 30 centimetre standing world title at Penguin. Although he has never represented his country overseas, this achievement can only be around the corner for this popular, young, happy-go-lucky axeman. After the opening round of the championships, the axemen and their families and friends are able to relax in the jovial atmosphere with music and dancing. Exploits are recounted, and the sportsmen of varying creeds, cultures and habits are able to relax in the informal atmosphere of one another's company, joined together by the sport of competitive wood chopping. The next day arrives and the gruelling pace grinds on as axemen strive desperately to gain points and prestige for their country. All along the northwest coast, events are held in rapid succession, with all eyes on Doug Gude hanging on grimly to his slender lead. John Goodwin of New Zealand just a touch away. It becomes a personal battle between the two, with George Foster just waiting to pounce. At the halfway mark, Goodwin leads, but here comes Doug Gude because he's within 3 points with a fine placing. The two are certainly in fine form in the heats. The tension starts to mount. The heat's in the last 10 by 10 combination, and it is level pegging with both on 30 points. It is a good log for John Goodwin, and he cuts cleanly, precision, powerful cutting, and the New Zealand champion is in top form. And now for the standing log. His front face is thin and he is not getting good penetration. He must open out the back to get a good drop. He's putting every ounce into it as the chips fly. He gets a small stick. He'll have to move. The winners have dropped their logs and Goodwin fails to qualify. Now it is Doug Gude's turn. He has everything to gain but must qualify because George Foster has already qualified and he is still level with Goodwin. His log is not easy, but he punches the axe in and his accuracy starts to tell as he draws away from the rest. He works his way through the wood in perfect style and he wins to qualify. Well, we can certainly measure the champion as he puts his axe in the box and some of the field are still hacking away. The tension mounts on this final day with the crowd humming. Can Gude win the title, or will George Foster come from behind? But work must still be done as the chips and logs are cleared away and loaded ready for the big final. Many tons of wood have been chopped already, and there is a sense of urgency. Officials and competitors are on edge. The big one is only moments away. Hurry along, collectors. The moment we have all waited for is about to begin. The competitors select their logs and carefully mark them. The air is full of expectancy. Gude, Foster, with Doug and Hockart and Lovell outsiders, but with a real chance.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and away they go.
There they go, Gude and Duggan trying desperately to get away from the rest of the field, but Foster is away with perfect rhythm. They turn, and there the big fellow fell into his back face, and he's certainly really getting through that log into the standing log now, and Foster is really moving at the present moment. A world title is at stake. Look at them go. There's Ude. He's opened up the front face. Now he's into the back face. Foster is trying desperately to stay with him. It's very, very close with Duggan right in between the two of them, and Ude is well into that back face. Foster is just about to bring it up, but Ude has won. Ude has won. It's a magnificent win for Doug Ude, the Golden Valley farmer who wins the world combination, and it's a wonderful win for this chap, no doubt about it. There's his wife congratulating him. It's a magnificent win as Doug Ude wins the combination and also the World Champion of Champions Award with a total of 40 points. A wonderful reception for this popular axeman.
An absolute perfect finish. As soon as we have the official results, we want the first 4 places to get us to the dais, please.
Thank you. Good on you. Good on you, Dave. Thanks, ladies.
Good on you, Dave.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart. The official placings for the 25 centimetre World Championship combination.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, Tasmania. Second placing to George Foster, Tasmania. Third placing to Ian Duggan, Tasmania. Fourth placing to Gio Hogarth, New Zealand. Fifth placing to Greg Lovell, Tasmania. And the time, 29 seconds exactly.
Thank you very much, Johnny. Ladies and gentlemen, it's our great pleasure to invite Mr. Doug Ude, the winner of the 25 World Championship combination stop, on the victory dais, please. Mr. Doug Ude.
Good on you, Doug.
With only one axe final to go, a lighter moment is introduced with the exhibition of log rolling. Another comedy act is provided by Mrs. Art Williams, also from British Columbia, who performs on the top of a 90-foot pole. Well, I'm glad it's him and not me up there. A novel pastime of those proficient with the chainsaw is furniture sculpture, and here we see Canadians John Kasnick and Ian Moratti show how easily it is done. The lighter side over, it is back to business with the double-handed sawing. The Canadians with the Americans are opposed to the two Tasmanians, Merv Ude and George Foster. The double-handed is fast and furious, with perfect coordination essential between the sawyers. The teeth fly through the wood, sending the sawdust high, and it's a magnificent win to George Foster and Merv Ude of Tasmania. There is a fantastic crowd here at Ulverston to witness the Blue Ribbon event, the Tree Felling Championship of the World. There are 10 competitors. From New South Wales, George Quigg and Jack Baxter. Norm Duval from South Australia, and the Tasmanians, Doug Ude, who is favourite, Bill Ude, John Timms, Alan Clifford, Warren Purden, John Purden and Owen Smith. All eyes at the moment are on Doug Ude. The tension mounts.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And away they go. All axes hit simultaneously as they put in the first shoe. Yep, they go, and it looks as though Bill at the moment is just slightly ahead of Doug Ude, closely followed by Owen Smith. Jack Baxter also into his second shoe. As they go up the tree, it's the second one complete. Yes, there's Doug and Bill. They're taking a slight lead over the rest of the field at the moment. They're in for the second. It looks as though the third's just about completed. Yes, it is. And it's Bill who's into the front face first as Doug tries desperately to catch up to him. There's nothing between them as these two Ude brothers show the rest of the field what to do. There's no brotherly love here between these two as they head into the front log, and it looks as though they're just about... There's the move. Bill, he's down first, and Doug has got to catch him as they go into the second climb, and it's Bill just ahead of Doug, only fractionally though, very little between them. They strike together, shoes in together, gather up the other two as they head in towards the second shoe cut, and it's Bill and Doug, very, very close indeed. There's nothing between them. Owen Smith has yet to put in his first shoe. two as they start the climb. There's very little between them, no doubt about it. What a tremendous sight. There goes Bill. His second shoe is not too steady. Doug's is okay though, and Bill is in a little bit of trouble. Got to put in that third shoe. Yes, he has, and it's not too safe either. It's bending at the back and it's making it hard for them as they go into that final back face. It's Doug in front of Bill at this stage. Bill gets a slight stick, and it looks as though Doug's hacking away. Looks as though he might have just an edge on Bill at this moment, and it's Doug Ude. Yes, there's not much left in it now as Bill tries desperately to catch up to Doug, but Doug's right on top of it now, and it'll go any sec now. There it goes. Doug Ude wins. What a fantastic axeman. There's no doubt about that. Doug Ude. Doug Ude of Golden Valley winning the World Championship tree felling. What a magnificent effort. Certainly he's rounded off a truly World Series with a perfect display on the tree. A worthy champion indeed.
In the 30-centimetre World Championship tree felling event, Doug Ude, Tasmania first. Bill Ude, Tasmania second. Alan Smith, Tasmania third. Warren Burton, Tasmania fourth. Officially fifth, N.J. Baxter from New South Wales. The time 1:42.